Senate, the Chief Whip, Deputy Chief Whip, distinguished Senator Lola Ashiru, that's the senator from my constituency, distinguished senator and my friend, Mustafa Lituraki of Ilorin. The Senate President, I have no intention of personalizing the proceedings here, but please permit me to also say that to greet Senator Buhari, they are from Oyo because I came from Oyo, from practice there, Senator Yunus, and my very good friend, Senator Sarafa Ali. That said, I will just veer off and say Senator Adigmamiri because he's a senior advocate of Nigeria. My name is Lateef Olasunkanmi Fagbemi. I was born third into a family of 5 at number 38, Lagos Street, Ebute Metta, Lagos, on the 16th day of July, 1959. Around 1962, I was taken to Ghana, but returned in 1965 to start what we call kindergarten, but eventually started my primary school in 1966 at Ansaruddin Primary School in Ilorin. I was there until 1972. In 1973, between 1973 and 1978, I attended both Offa Grammar School and Offa Grammar School, Offa, and Oyun Baptist High School, Ijagbo, for my secondary education. I then moved to Kwara State College of Technology, School of Basic Studies, to do my higher education certificate under the supervision of University of Cambridge. I finished from there and went to University of Jos between 1981 and 1984. I then got to the Nigerian Law School in 1985. I became a lawyer in August 1985 and did my youth service in Ibadan in 1985. That is between 1985 and 1986. I then went back to University of Ife, as it then was, for my master's degree. Since then, I've been in active legal practice. I trained under that world-renowned jurist turned educationist, Chief Afe Babalola. Like I said, since then, I've been in active legal practice. The Senate President, this is the short resume of the candidate standing before you. Much obliged. Sadiq Umar, and I start on a note of apology because I should have mentioned him as one of the senators from my state. Unfortunately, the impression I had was that he was not around. That said, let me talk about the question he raised. It's about the relationship between the National Assembly and the Office of the Attorney General. I don't see any difference between this question and the relationship amongst the 3 tiers of government. The government stands on the tripod: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And the French philosopher Montesquieu advocated the issue of separation of powers, rule of law, and others. But there is nowhere in the world where you have watertight separation of powers. It is the interest of the nation, the interest of the country that is paramount and will dictate how we relate, all for the good, betterment, and advancement of our nation. So, as Attorney General, if I find myself there, I cannot do without the National Assembly. I cannot do without the judiciary. But it has to be on certain defined parameters. That's one. Then my very good friend, Senator Sarafa Ali, I just want to thank you for the good things you said about me. Then my boss at home, and I say here, Senator Lola Ashiru, has asked that, well, because I'm not a politician, the office of the Attorney General, with all respect, is supposed to maintain a modicum of independence. But that does not mean that you will not take into consideration the mood of the nation. So that is what is important, because it is the Constitution, it is the law that I am expected to guide and guard. Again, all in the interest of the nation. About this issue of land dispute and all that, my answer is going to be a two-pronged approach. The first one is, it is either a dispute between one state and another, or between one local government and another. In fact, three. The third one is within the same local government, you can have dispute as to land. But I'm aware that we have boundary commission. Whether or not we'll achieve harmony in respect of land matters depends greatly, or a great deal, on our governors. Because very few instances of state clashes, interstate disputes arise. So it behoves the governor of a particular state to take the bull by the horn and not play politics with it. It's very important, because when election is coming, the issue is, oh, let me wait, otherwise I'm going to lose this election. So my advice is that it is the state governors that we turn to do the needful. At the local government, it is the local government chairman who should also take the bull by the horn. At the federal level, the president, the boundary commission, which is a body established or recognized by law, should swing into action. But my general advice is that it is better to nib these disputes in the bud as soon as you realize, or there is indication that's likely to be boundary dispute or communal dispute. I will advise the authorities to swing into action and not allow it to fester or get to such a magnitude that it will now be unmanageable. Now, in respect of the distinguished Senator Ndume, unexplained wealth, I want to discuss this under a broad head of corruption. It is only in Nigeria that we want to take omelette without breaking egg. It's not possible. But we must also realize that the whole purpose of the society, of the nation, of the country, of the group, any group, is to promote economic development. In fact, if you have an enabling environment for for investment, you have little problem dealing with unemployment. But there cannot be this will not work unless you have an enabling environment in respect of legal, the legislation. Truth be told, we fight corruption, but at the same time, the way it is being fought in Nigeria leaves much to be desired. That is the truth. If I have my way, I will advise the president to unbundle. First of all, bring ICPC and EFCC together unbundle them. Investigation should not be handled by the same body. There must be a supervisory authority within the same system. If there is investigation, it is another body. Prosecution is another body. It doesn't augur well to ask the same authority to, okay, do investigation, come and do prosecution. That is where we have problems. Then we are also not, let me say, patient enough. You know, investigation takes time, especially in serious corruption cases. Are we prepared to wait? My take is that a situation should be created, such as the one that happened in when Hush Puppy was arrested. They had been trailing him for years. He didn't know, and nobody will talk to him. But the day they said the time was up, he also knew that the time was up. Investigation should be thorough. It shouldn't be that when a given governor leaves office, you now say, yes, let's go. EFCC is inviting you. That is not the way to prosecute criminal matters, corruption matters. You can take your time to prosecute, but when you knock, and it is like, it should be like the way an average American will react when the FBI knocked at the door. You call your lawyer. Yeah, it won't be to come and defend. It will be, please, this negotiation, there have to be a plea bargain. I'm prepared to surrender so much. Because when they open the books, you yourself will be surprised. Is that what we have in Nigeria? I will answer it with an outstanding no, negative. So, if you are ready, and it will involve, with respect, the National Assembly, make laws that will be good for the society without anticipating, oh, will this one affect me? I'm sorry, it's just time to say the truth. We have to put in place very good laws to do this. Then, apart from the issue of having good laws, I have always insisted that it is better to have even bad laws administered by good men than to have good laws administered by bad men. It is important that we do this. So, but the issue of, fair hearing, distinguished, we have to obey the Constitution. There must be fair hearing. You cannot condemn a man unheard. He's never done anywhere. We cannot be in a hurry because, we cannot say because we want to prosecute, then you now brush aside the age-long with the one that has started even during the time of Adam and Eve. We all know what happened. But make sure that investigation is thorough. And when we talk of investigation being thorough, we pump money there. We have to pump money there. Unbundle the authorities, that has to be. Then, with respect on the issue of not obeying court orders, there is no government, especially the head, who will want to joke with the judiciary. It is those around him. In Nigeria, what we have, or which we have to pay attention to, is interagency rivalry. You have the EFCC, you have the SSS, you have other security, organizations. I think, with respect, you will not find the president flouting any order, because the Attorney General will invariably be made a party. The mere fact that an order is made does not mean that you should obey it immediately. You think about it. Do I appeal? Do I, if I appeal, what do I do next? If I'm not appealing, what am I supposed to do? If I'm not appealing, of course, I cannot subject the order of court to any further test of validity. By Section 287, it has to be obeyed not only by the government, but every authority and presence in Nigeria. So the question of these, in the major areas where we have these disobedience of court order are between, with all respect, between these agencies. My advice would be that in matters of law, the Attorney General should be involved. DSS cannot be an island unto itself. EFCC cannot continue to, behave as if there is no law. There is law. And if you want to do investigation, you do investigation before inviting the accused person. It is not a question of inviting him and you say, we have caught a big fish. Then at the end of the day, you say you are investigating. So that also goes to the issue of the pace at which the cost of justice travels. It can be slow, but it's very sure. And I take example from what is happening in the United States. Trump has a 2024 appointment or date in court. Believe me, some people will say, 2024. No. That 2024, if God preserves our lives till and beyond that day, nothing will make them shift it, because thorough investigation would have been done. You do your investigation before arrest and not arrest before investigation. I'm grateful. Furthermore, now see the
distinguished senators, you can notice
a boundary dispute. I will say that this is not a legal matter. Rather, it is a political matter. I know that a number of factors influence the creation of states, local government, and all that. The chief among them are, one, the willingness of this community to live together, then socio-cultural togetherness. So if a wrong has been committed, I think it can be corrected by legislation. Yes. You can amend the constitution if it is the constitution. After all, you have amended about 4 or 5 times. This one we can collate where those things are. Ask those people, where do you want to be? Where they are going? Will you accept them? Are you ready to accept them? I don't think there is. As far as I'm concerned, with respect, it's not a legal matter. Or if it is if law is involved, I would say it's a political legal matter. You make up your mind as to what you do and fashion the constitution along that line. One. Number two, in respect of conflicting judgment or decisions, it is unfortunate. We cannot close our eyes or deny that these exist. But I know that as far as the courts are concerned, they have been making efforts to, nip this in the bud. For instance, if you approach the Federal High Court today or High Court of Federal Capital Territory, you are to sign a document saying, I have not, filed any other actions, even similar to this, anywhere. If you, otherwise, your case will be struck out, will be dismissed. But this forum shopping, I know is still there. 3 people are involved. 1, the judge. 2, the lawyer, and the litigant. But you discover that most of the cases are political cases. They are political cases. Very few are non-political cases. On the part of the lawyers involved, I know that the long arm of the law, through the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, the body of benchers, will catch up with them if appropriate reports are made or they are brought to the attention of these authorities. For the litigants, well, there's very little we can do. but they can also be sanctioned. I will advise that, one, we make full disclosure when we are approaching the lawyer to file a case. Because the lawyer is not a wizard, he's not a witch. He won't know whether any judgment, any action has been commenced elsewhere. But by and large, I think we need proper reporting system of court judgment, especially where you have federal high court. We can, I think that can be sorted out, bringing it to the attention of the judge where it is known. It is not only here. For instance, there was a matter, well, let me avoid, because it's one of the matters that are sub judice. We know that it happens, it's occurring. How do we do it? Everybody has to call him or herself to order. For the lawyers, I have mentioned that the power of discipline of the legal practitioners disciplinary committee will catch up. The judge can also make recommendation towards the discipline of the judge. They are also of the lawyer. Then for the judge, the NJC will issue its power of discipline. But what we discover is that when this type of case comes up, the man who reported will now come when it is time to hear the matter and say that he's withdrawing his action. And if a man says he's withdrawing his complaint, there is very little remain for anybody to do in the circumstances. So these are my takes on the issue, sir. But for the Attorney General, his interaction with the National Assembly, with the judiciary is continuous. He has to answer as often as is needed, and on a humorous note, at no charge.
Well, you are used to giving advice without charges. So, let me thank the nominee, the Leonard Silk, Latif Fagbemi, SAN, for the elucidating answers to most of the questions, and then to also let you know that so many hands are still up waiting for you, but we can't keep you beyond this period now. So our intention will be that we will collect some of the concerns of the distinguished senators, and then the Senate leader will definitely present them to you, so that if God gives you the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, then you will also use those questions as working documents. Thank you for coming. You may now take leave of the Senate.